Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 4, and today we're taking a look at the 2018 Renault Mégane R.S. Now I'd just like to say off from the first, before we get this review started, sorry about my voice. I've got a cold. I've been just trying to shake it for the last few days. Had it since New Year's Eve and it's just not wanting to shift, so yeah. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit weird, and yeah, this review might be a bit shorter than usual just because I don't want to be talking for too long. But nonetheless, this is the third incarnation of the Mégane R.S, which is based on the 4th generation Mégane. And yeah, it features a few inventive systems to keep this car on the road with its extra power over the standard version from its more powerful engine. And yeah, those systems include a 4-wheel steering system, torque vectoring system, which basically brakes the inner wheels when you're going around a corner. So say if you're turning right, then the right hand wheels will brake, so then the left hand wheels can pull in tighter, so you can get a better handling around corners, which will obviously be aided as well by the 4-wheel steering. And it has a double damping suspension system, which basically means that it can soften any imperfections in the road while also keeping the car stiff for sporty handling. So yeah, a few systems there that will help, no doubt, especially since this is far more powerful than the standard Mégane, as it has a 1.8 litre inline-4 turbocharged engine producing 275 horsepower and 287 pounds-feet of torque. Now granted, that's nowhere near as powerful as say a Ford Focus RS or a Honda Civic Type R, but in all honesty, I kind of like this more than those kind of cars. This is a bit left field. It's not the obvious choice to go for, but there are a few reasons why I like this more than either of those cars. Firstly, it looks relatively normal. It's still got some sporty potentials, obviously. It's got the brake calipers that are painted, much bigger wheels. It's got a few little bit of bodywork extras going on, but the Mégane itself is a good looking car, so the fact that they haven't ruined it with massive spoilers or massive you know, intakes or anything like that, as like the Civic Type R, which really does look rather garish and a little bit desperate. This, yeah, looks the part, but isn't so flash that, you know, everyone's going to instantly think that you're a bit of a boy racer, quite frankly. But yeah, it not only looks good, but it's reasonably practical. Not quite as practical as say a Civic Type R, but it's still got plenty of legroom in the rear, and yeah, a decent sized boot. But again, the Civic Type R does have a larger boot than this, but again, it's still a sizable boot nonetheless, so it does what a hot hatchback should be able to do, and that is pretty much everything. Because yeah, this is powerful, practical, good in terms of handling, looks good as well, and yeah, has a nice interior up front as well. All the kind of technology you'd expect. It's got a flappy paddle gearbox as well, so it's a proper kind of a track ready kind of car, even though obviously it's still quite a standard vehicle on the inside with all its luxuries. And yeah, certainly doesn't weigh as little as say a Civic Type R. This weighs 3,153 pounds, which is about 30 or 40 pounds more than the Civic Type R, while obviously having less power and slightly less torque. But again, I still prefer this over that Civic Type R, purely just because of the looks, never mind anything else. So yeah, nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. So with all those systems in place and that suspension that I talked about earlier, this car is more than capable of handling its immense amount of power, which again, granted, isn't as much as other hot hatchbacks, but is more than enough for daily use. And yeah, will certainly still make mincemeat of lower end hot hatchbacks. So yeah, really do like this car. I like the sound of the engine, which isn't over turbocharged despite being such a small engine. It's not being overtaken by the turbocharger by whatsoever, so it's got quite a nice growly sound to it. Now granted, at the top end it is a little bit, you know, mind-numbing at times. It does get a bit drony at times, but when you're going through the gears at lower speeds and stuff, it does sound fairly good. Handling wise, it's really rather good as well. Really isn't torque steering all over the place with all that power and torque that it's got going on, while those systems do obviously help in terms of cornering, because yeah, it does really stick it into the bends. It's, yeah, a very grippy little car. You can see the suspension though being a little bit on the stiff and wobbly side there, which is not the most, you know, elegant kind of thing, but it at least is keeping us on the road and is keeping us in the right direction. are going around corners at a fairly reasonable speed, which is, you know, not too much to ask, quite frankly. And acceleration is fairly good as well, 0 to 16 5.9 seconds, do 0 to 114.2 seconds, and it going to a top speed of 159 miles an hour, which is, again, really rather reasonable. Again, comparing it to the Ford Focus RS and the Honda Civic Type R, it's not as quick as those cars, but then again, they have more power, and in the case of the Focus, it's got all-wheel drive, so inevitably it's going to have better acceleration off the line. But yeah, this is still, again, really good for an everyday kind of hot hatchback that's practical, looks really good, and sounds really good, while also being able to perform. And yeah, I'm really glad that they've put this in the game, because we've not had a new Mégane for a long time in a Forza game, so I'm really glad that we've finally got one to go alongside the previous generation Mégane R.S, as well as obviously the Mégane that we reviewed a few weeks ago, which is from, again, a different generation. So yeah, I'm really enjoying all these new Renaults, or at least new Renaults to the Forza series that have come about recently in Forza Horizon 4, because yeah, Renault, as I said in the previous couple of reviews of other Renault cars, have been severely underrepresented in previous Forza games. Not quite so much as, say, Peugeot, which again is still really rather lackluster in terms of their car roster, but still underrepresented in general. And yeah, it's nice to see that we're getting more cars on the go. We do have the Clio from 2016 to review. That was a concept car, also an RS model. That will be out probably tomorrow, and then in the next festival playlist season, I think, we have another Clio from 2007, I think it is. It's the 197, which again I'm really looking forward to reviewing. So yeah, plenty more French hot hatchbacks to come, and yeah, I look forward to reviewing them for you. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.